It's Around the House. When it comes to remodeling and renovating your home, there is a lot to know, but we've got you covered. This is Around the House.
Welcome to the Around the House Pro Insider Podcast. This is all for you contractors, designers, remodelers, even the suppliers out there that are creating products that we all use in design and construction projects each and every day. Thanks for listening today, guys, and this is going to be a super important episode. If there is one episode that I want you to listen through this year, I think this is going to be the one. And this is going to be an important one. Marketing your company in a recession. Yes, I'm using the R word. We can see in the industry where things are headed right now, and this is the canary in the coal mine. With interest rates popping up over 5, getting to 6%, there are things changing in this new construction remodeling world that I have weathered through numerous storms. But the good news is, looking back at my history, this is also the time that I have grown my remodeling, construction, design businesses faster than almost everybody else by doing some of these key, interesting little tricks. So we're going to dive into this today so we can make sure to give you information so you know right now is the time that you should be taking a look at things and getting ready to do some pivots. Now, over the last number of years, things have been really good, super good in the construction and products game out there across the country. New construction's been hammering away. Remodeling's been big. You know, we've had such issues that materials can't stay on the shelves. You know, all companies can do is wait for the next container to show up of materials, and it goes out the door, and there's literally no inventory of anything out there for you to do. Heck, if you've got to order something, it's weeks, months, or even years for it to show up. Those times are getting ready to change right now. So this is one thing I want you to really pay attention to, because this means you've got to start doing some things differently so you can get it right, because your business will depend on it. Now, one of the things that's happened over the last probably 3 years, 4 years, is companies have cut their marketing budgets down to nearly zero. Now, they'll show up to a trade show, they'll do some little things here, but marketing has not been needed because, well, quite frankly, if you're a contractor, you've been booked up for a year or two out. If you're a house builder, you can't find a lot and you're selling them at record prices in many communities across the country. If you're a designer, you're booked up for weeks and months or the rest of the year, depending on when it is. And if you're a product company out there that's building things, guess what? You know, you can't keep it on the shelves. So why spend that money on marketing? Well, you're going to go back now to the way things used to be, potentially back into like where that 2008, 2009, 2010 were. And that should get your attention right now, because we're in a time where we're going to be going from a big shift from house building into remodeling and people staying in their homes because interest rates are going to go up so quickly here that it's going to be a real problem for house builders out there. So let's talk about this for a minute. What we've seen now is with interest rates going up, and it looks like they could go up another couple points in 2022. Looks like in May, we might see another half point. You know, June, July, we could see another half point. So we could be up in that 6-7% interest rate on homes where we used to be. So this is going to be something different for people. How has that changed? If you think about $1 million house here recently, or even a $2 million house, those interest rate hikes for those upper end homes in many communities, or middle-end homes or entry-level homes in some communities, those are already adding what a new car payment would be to the price of the mortgage just when things go up a half to a point. And we're going to see that go again. So that really tends to throw cold water on the fire of new home construction out there, even though we have a very big shortage of homes across the country that we're in a negative place for that. we don't have too much inventory right now. The problem is we're going to have challenges of people buying the homes they want for the price they want and to be able to afford that in a monthly payment. So that's something that we got to be really careful with. Now, what I'm worried about here is now that we see that home buying process slowing down a little bit, we're going to see now the remodeling process pick up and the materials of people doing it themselves, because money is going to be harder to get. Those interest rates on credit cards are going to go up. The new car loan prices are going to go up for a new car because you're paying a higher interest rate there. All of those interest rates where people in this wonderful United States and even Canada love to finance things, guess what? That's getting more expensive. So what you're going to see now is things really kind of cooling down a little bit and becoming much more typical, where we've got a lot more competition. We're going to have less dollars and more people fighting for them. So this is where you need to pay attention. Now, if you're a company out there selling products, whether it's interior products, siding, roofing, whatever, could be cabinetry, it could be, anything inside or outside the home in the residential construction market, here are my tips for your company. And we're going to go through here my tips for, the suppliers out there. And we're going to go through my tips for contractors and designers here. But we're going to start out with the companies out there that are the producers of the materials that we use every single day. My first rule, increase marketing. Because most people, and I say most, have cut back on marketing. You need to make sure that your customer, your client, the people that are purchasing your products know it exists, know why they should buy it, and you need to get that product in front of them now. That way, whether or not they're hiring a contractor, whether or not they're doing it themselves or they're tackling that project, you need to pivot towards the remodeling marketplace. And I'm not just talking about going for the pros. You need to look at the pros and the DIYers out there to make sure you've got that product out in front of them so they know it. Now, if yours a product that maybe it's an energy efficiency product or something like that that goes in your home, this is also a great time to get out in front of everybody, including if you're one of those people that it's just a business-to-business relationship that you sell through a wholesaler out there. Make sure that end user is requesting your product when they're having to have it installed or included into a bigger project. So that's the first thing. Make sure that marketing is out there and make sure you're getting regularly in front of your client. Now, here's probably the most important thing for you out there. And this is where many people struggle as far as in the manufacturing side of thing. Knowing your client. I have had plenty of discussions with hundreds of companies, and they think of their client being that pro installer. And actually, it's the homeowner that's many times making that decision, or the builder that's making that decision, maybe not the installer. So really, this is a time to make sure, like we were talking about, widen that paintbrush to make sure you're getting as many of the people that are in the decision-making process at all. So even though you might have somebody come in and buy it at wholesale, that might not have been that decision-making person that took care of that. So be careful. You can get yourself in a little bit of a trap over marketing to this fine-tuned, pinpoint, and you really are not getting the people that are actually making that decision. So that's a big one. Spend wisely is the next one. I'm sorry, magazine people out there. Print ads, unless you're in a trade ad, are something that's really tough. And newspapers, print, I have had many struggles. And I tell you what, if I go back and look at my last businesses I had where I advertised in a print ad, that $50,000, I wish I had it back because I burned it up and got nothing out of it. Now, if you are a company and you're advertising in maybe trade magazines and things like that, you're going to get a little bit of return out of it. But I'll be honest, in most cases, people in the trades have their brands that they already love and that they're already loyal to. So trying to grab the little handful of them that aren't is a tough sell. You might be better off going after the retail client to make sure they're requesting that in that next project. And you're going to get a lot in front of a lot more people, which is very, very important. Now, right now, we're going to start seeing a shift from new construction into remodeling. So you're going to see home building slow down a little bit in the next year. You're going to see that kind of tapping the brakes a little bit. And I want to make sure that as people kind of hold on to that money or can't get loans for that increased price, it might be cheaper for them to get a second mortgage and do that addition versus go buy that house or move. So you should be focusing on the remodeling market more. Continue advertising to the building market because it's not going to stop. We still have a large shortage of homes, but make sure that you're focusing on that. And that's a big one. And that remodel market should be where you're pivoting to, including the DIYers. So focus on those two people. This is where we need to shift our thought pattern a little bit to make sure you're getting in front of all those guys. Now, if you're a remodeling contractor out there, buckle up. Here we go. The first thing I want you to be doing, and I hope you're already doing this, is watching and managing those costs. Because with inflation going up, this week we saw inflation numbers going up through the roof. It's ugly out there. Gas prices are high. Material prices are high. There's shortages. I hope you're managing those dollars because I tell you what, you can go in and buy just a handful of stuff just for the job site and spend $100 so quickly just with your person out in the job site, just a construction manager stopping by the home center on the way there to grab a couple things for the project. There goes $100. I want to make sure that you've got your change orders and everything dialed in to make sure you've got that taken care of. That is going to be one of the things where you got to watch for that bleed because it's happening, and I hope you're controlling it. Make sure you've got that under control. Now, as we see interest rates climb, the remodeling is going to be a little bit tougher. You're going to see a lot more people going into remodeling with cash in hand versus getting a loan. But you could have, if you do this right, a very, very busy 2022 and 2023 as they try to get inflation and all of this stuff under control in the financial world of the United States here. So make sure that you are ready for the remodeling stuff out there. Now, you need to be focused on remodeling and marketing. You need to be the if you're great at basements, man, this is the time. Go dive into basement remodeling. Own it. Be the basement remodeling expert in your neighborhood, in that whole area that you're working from. Own that. If you're a kitchen remodel, crush it. If you're a bathroom remodel, do that. Whatever you're doing, or if you're maintenance, roofing, HVAC, any of those things that could save people money or have to be done, make sure you're getting out in front of those people because, again, this is stuff that can really keep you moving through these little more tougher times. So anything is going to be available out there for you to go get as a business, but we are going to be more remodel focused than we were new construction. Of course, take the new construction business as it comes, but I think we're going to begin to that pivot of people staying at home a little bit more. You'll have people moving between areas with work and things like that. But when money tightens up like it is now, people are going to go into the remodeling much more than new construction. So watch that. Now, marketing is where you need to be hitting it up. This is that thing that you should be doing it again. Restart that marketing machine. Look back at where you were in 2011, 2012, 2013. Where were you in your marketing dollars? Add 25 or 30% to that and start going after it because you should be out there. And I will say this, one of the things that you should be looking at that is old school awesome, especially in metropolitan areas. And I say this is going to sound very self-serving, but it's what created my business. And here are some of my secrets to marketing. When I was doing my kitchen and bath company in Seattle, my secret to my success was advertising in morning drive time around traffic. So if you have people out there that are waiting in their cars trying to get to work, they are tuning to their local news station on the radio, many times FM, AM, if there's FM jammed full of music, but they're listening to that traffic on the 10s, whether it's on the 4s, the 8s, the 10s, the 2s, whatever they're doing. They have trained their listeners to tune into that. I like to put my marketing around that area there. And of course, in specialized programming, the hot shows of the day, which is usually morning or evening drive time. That's the biggest times of the day during the weekday when you have the most people listening. Now, in talk radio, of course, you have big shows with big listeners during the week. That's great. And of course, I wouldn't be, I'm not too ashamed to say, hey, you should be advertising around the house as well and listen to all of our people out there. But really, during the week, you should be focused on those times right there. And that is really important. So work on that to get focused on that aspect. There are magazines out there that are mailers, all those things. And if they work in your area, go for it. But really trying to get your brand out there to your client, radio to me has always been what's done the most for my companies year over year. And we still have plenty of people listen to radio. Radio is not dead. And of course, there's podcasts like this as well. But those are things to think about, increasing that marketing. Now's the time, if you want to grow your company or even get a much more solid base, diving into that is going to be key. Now, if you're a designer, it's the same kind of thing. Get yourself booked up. Start thinking about those remodeling projects. Be that remodeling, person instead of the new home. This is the time to really focus on that. As well as new construction. Hey, if you're going to start doing new construction, that's great. If you're going to continue into 2022, 2023, just be very careful, as I don't have to tell you that these interest rates are going to make things change and change quickly. So we will see those brakes get pumped for some people. Now, if you're in an area like I am, where you still have plenty of Californians moving up that are escaping that to a cheaper area, it's still going to be hopping because you're still having people that are selling homes for millions of dollars and coming into your area and buying homes. So if you're in that market where people are coming in from out of state because it's a more cost-effective place to live, you might not see that jump down that much because we are talking cash deals. They've cashed out of their house. They're moving in. That's not a bad place to be because that doesn't really affect their interest rates. So there's something to be said about that kind of area. Now, if you're in a resort town, things like that, this is always where things get a little sketchy because when money tightens up like this can be where it gets a little tougher, where people might not be building that second home, getting a loan for that second home, or buying that vacation house. So be very careful in those kind of markets because those can be very, volatile when you see that. So be very careful. We have that in Bend, Oregon, I love that area. It's beautiful. It's in Central Oregon here outside of us, but that market over the years has been very boom or bust. When things are good on the economy, man, people are buying homes left and right. And when things really quiet down like they're getting ready to do right now, you see that place really tap the brakes. So be very careful in those communities where it is a very tourism-based economy. So be careful with those. All right, everybody, I know I threw a lot out there in just about 20 minutes here, but these are things that you want to really pay attention to. And feel free to reach out to me if you're a company out there that are thinking about how you need to make some changes with the economy changing coming up, or if you're a contractor and you want to have a little bit more of a chit-chat, feel free to reach out to me over at aroundthehouseonline.com. You can get a hold of me over there on the Contact Us page. That'll go into my inbox. And feel free to reach out there. Or just jump over on Twitter, and you can get me over there and send me a direct message over there. That's another great way to get a hold of me, and I will get you back, as well as LinkedIn. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today to this quick Pro Insider. We've got some great interviews coming up that we've got, I'm just putting in the can right now, where we're going to have some great people coming in to talk more about things around the house. And, for all you contractors, designers, and product manufacturers out there, there's a lot of new stuff coming your way, so stay tuned for that. All right, everybody, have a great rest of the week. Coming up on Saturday, we've got a great show ahead. We've got hour number 2. We have Air Sniper coming on. We're going to be talking about all of those different, things that are in your air, how to clean them out with something that's besides a filter, something that's going to capture and kill and clean that air up. And then hour number 1, we're going to be talking about remodeling mid-century homes. So we're going to have some fun with that. All right, everybody, have a great, safe rest of the week. Thanks for listening to Around the House Pro Insider. We'll see you again in 2 weeks.
unseen and undiscovered. Anyway, out beyond the mean. Life is a love song, let's be lovers. We're all over the radio. Take my